The broken satellite floated in silence. It was old, covered in tiny holes from space rocks, and its solar panels hung like dead leaves. The words "property of NASA" were still visible on its side, though faded by years in the cold darkness. This piece of metal had once sent pictures of Jupiter back to Earth. Now it drifted alone, forgotten by the people who made it. But it was not alone for long. A ship appeared from nothing. One moment the space was empty, and the next moment a vessel shaped like a curved blade cut through the darkness. Its hull was silver and smooth, without any visible windows or doors. The ship moved with a grace that seemed impossible, stopping near the dead satellite without making a sound. Inside the ship, creatures with gray skin and large black eyes studied the floating metal. They were called and they had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. Their leader, a female named, leaned forward in her seat and watched the images on her screen. "It is crude," she said, her voice soft like wind through leaves. "Look at these circuits. They used silicon, actual silicon, and these power cells are chemical-based." Her assistant, a younger named, nodded his large head. "The radio signals from this world suggested they were primitive. This confirms it. They are barely into their space age." Made a gesture with her four-fingered hand. "Send out the collectors. We will take this debris back to the archive. The council will want to study it." Small drones flew from the ship. They moved toward the satellite like fish swimming through water. Their arms reached out to grab the old machine. But they never touched it. A beam of red light shot across space. It hit the lead drone and turned it into dust in less than a second. The other drones scattered, but more beams followed. One by one, they were destroyed. Jumped to her feet. "What is happening?" His fingers moved fast over his controls. Another ship. It came from behind the planet's moon. It was hiding there. On the screen, a new vessel appeared. This one was different from the ship. It was larger, built from dark metal that seemed to eat the light around it. Its shape was like a hammer, brutal and strong. Along its sides were weapons that glowed with angry red energy. The whispered. Her black eyes went wide with fear. There were warriors. While they explored and studied, the conquered and destroyed. They had been enemies for centuries, and now somehow they were here, near this tiny blue world called Earth. The ship moved closer. A voice came through the communication system. It was deep and harsh, like rocks grinding together. "Vessel, you will leave this space. This system belongs to the Empire now. All technology here is ours to claim." Steadied herself. She pressed the button to reply. "This system is unclaimed. The native species has not yet made contact with the galactic community. You have no right to take their artifacts." The voice laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Rights? We do not care about rights. We care about power. This primitive world has sent hundreds of objects into space. Satellites, probes, even some that left their solar system. We will collect them all. We will learn their secrets. And when we are done, we will take their world too." Looked at with worry in his eyes. "Commander, we cannot fight them. Their ship is a warship. We are only a research vessel." Knew he was right, but she could not just leave. They had rules about protecting young species. They were supposed to let them develop on their own, free from outside influence. If they took Earth's technology and then invaded, it would be a great crime. "We will not leave," she said firmly. "Send a message to the High Council. Tell them what is happening here. They must send help." The message was sent, but new help would take time. Too much time. The ship began to move again. It was heading toward a cluster of debris that floated in a wide ring around Earth. There were thousands of objects there. Old rocket parts, dead satellites, broken pieces of space stations. To the humans, it was garbage. It was treasure. "They are deploying their own collectors," reported. Watched the screen as dozens of drones spread out. They began grabbing everything they could find. One drone picked up an old glove that had floated away from an astronaut decades ago. Another grabbed a piece of the old Mir space station. "We must stop them," said. Howe asked. Did not have an answer. Her ship had only small defensive weapons. They were no match for a warship, but she had to try something. "Target their collectors. Destroy as many as we can." The ship's weapons powered up. They were weak compared to the guns, but they could still hurt the small drones. Gave the order and blue beams of energy shot through space. The first shot hit a drone. It exploded in a flash of light, then another, and another. The commander's voice came back, filled with anger. "You dare attack us? Stupid, you will die for this." The hammer-shaped warship turned toward them. Its main weapons began to glow. Knew what was coming. She had seen weapons destroy entire cities. Her little research ship would not survive even one hit. "Evasive action," she yelled. The ship tried to move, but it was too slow. The fired. The beam of red death crossed the space between the ships in an instant. Closed her eyes, waiting for the end. But the end did not come. She opened her eyes and saw something impossible on the screen. The weapon had stopped, not missed, stopped. The red beam hung frozen in space, caught by something invisible. What? Could not finish his question. Then they all saw it. Space itself seemed to bend and twist. A shape appeared, bigger than both ships combined. It had been there all along, hidden in some way that neither the nor the could understand. It was a space station, a human space station. But it was not like the crude metal boxes the humans had built before. This station was enormous and beautiful. It was made from materials that seemed to glow with soft white light. Its shape was like a flower with many petals, each one larger than the warship. Impossible, breathed. Their technology, it should be primitive. The frozen weapon beam simply vanished. It was absorbed by the station like water into sand. Then a voice came through every communication channel. It was speaking in perfect language, and knew it was speaking to thee in their language too. "Welcome to Earth space," the voice said. It was calm and friendly. "We have been watching you both for some time. We think it is time we had a talk." Far below, on the blue planet called Earth, a woman named Director sat in a control room and smiled. The screens around her showed everything that was happening in orbit. She had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. Finally, she said to her team, they took the bait. The old satellite with the NASA logo had not been abandoned at all. It had been placed there on purpose. A trap, a test, and the aliens had failed it completely. Now the real game could begin. Director stood up from her chair and walked closer to the main screen. Her team of 30 people worked silently around her. They had trained for this moment for years. Some of them had trained their whole lives. The control room was deep underground, hidden beneath a mountain in a place that had no name on any map. Very few humans knew it existed. Even fewer knew what happened inside. "Show me the alien ships," ordered. The screen changed. It showed the 2 vessels floating in space near the hidden station. The curved ship looked small and scared. The hammer-shaped warship looked angry and confused. Neither of them knew what to do. "They are trying to scan the station," said a young man at one of the computers. His name was James, and he was the best signals expert on Earth. "Their equipment cannot get through our shields. They are getting nothing." Nodded and They are charging weapons again. It seems they want to fight." A woman with gray hair spoke up from across the room. She was General Hayes, the military commander of the facility. "Should we show them more of what we can do?" Thought about it. The station in orbit had many abilities. It could create shields that stopped any weapon. It could bend light to become invisible. It could even stop time in small areas, which was how it had frozen the attack. But showing too much too fast might cause panic, and panicked aliens with weapons were dangerous. "Not yet," decided. "Let us talk first. Open a visual channel." James typed commands into his computer. A moment later, a camera activated on the station. face appeared on screens inside both alien ships. Stared at the image. The human looked so normal. 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth. No fur or scales or extra limbs. Just a simple creature from a simple world. And yet this simple creature had technology that made science look like children's toys. "I am Director," the human said. "I speak for Earth. Who are you?" Found her voice first. "I am Commander of the Exploration Fleet. We come in peace. We meant no harm to your world." "I know," said with a small smile. "We have been listening to your communications. You wanted to protect us. We appreciate that." Then the commander appeared on the screen. He was larger than, with red skin and a face full of scars. His name was Warlord, and he had conquered 12 worlds before coming to this one. "Human," he growled, "you have made a mistake. You should have stayed hidden. Now we know you are here, and we will take everything you have." Did not look scared. She did not even look worried. She just looked at the way a teacher looks at a misbehaving child. "Warlord," she said slowly, "you have conquered many planets. You have killed many people. You think strength is everything, but let me show you something." The screen in front of changed. It showed images of his home world far across the galaxy. It showed his capital city, his military bases, his shipyards, everything. Hal whispered, his red face turned pale. "We have eyes everywhere," explained. "We have been watching the galaxy for a very long time, longer than you can imagine. We know about every species that has ever looked at the stars." Felt her heart's beating fast, 2 hearts both racing with shock. "But your world, your technology seemed so basic. The satellites, the probes." "We're meant to seem that way," said. "Tell me, Commander, when you explore a new forest, do you announce yourself to every animal, or do you move quietly and watch?" Understood now. The humans had been hiding, on purpose, for years, maybe for centuries. All those crude rockets and simple satellites were just a mask. Behind that mask was something much more advanced. "Why?" asked. "Why hide?" Smile faded. Her eyes became serious. "Because we learned long ago that the universe is not friendly. We detected radio signals from other species before we even left our planet. We listened. We learned. We heard about thee and their wars. We heard about thee and their rules. We heard about the collective and the empire and the free worlds. And we decided that we did not want to join any of them." Had recovered from his shock. His face was angry again. "You think you can stay hidden forever. You think you can ignore the galaxy. We will find you. We will break you. We will." His words stopped. His mouth kept moving, but no sound came out. On the station screen had pressed a button. She had simply turned off his voice. "Warlord, you talk too much," she said. "Let me explain your situation. Your ship is surrounded by weapons you cannot see. Your communications with your empire are blocked. Your crew's life support systems are being managed by our computers. If I want, I can turn off the air on your ship right now. Do you understand?" His eyes went wide. He tried to speak, but there was still no sound. He nodded slowly. "Good, now I will turn your voice back on. But if you threaten us again, I will turn off more than your voice. I will turn off your heart." She pressed another button, gasped for air even though he had been breathing the whole time. "What do you want?" he asked. His voice was much quieter now. "I want you to leave," said. "Go back to your empire. Tell them what you saw here. Tell them that Earth is not interested in being conquered. Tell them that if they send warships, those warships will not return. Tell them that we want peace, but we are ready for war." Looked at his crew. They were all scared. He could see it in their eyes. They had never faced an enemy like this. Every world they had conquered before had fought with weapons they understood. This was different. "And if I refuse to leave?" asked, trying to sound brave. Sighed. She looked almost sad. "Then I will show you what happened to the last species that tried to conquer Earth." The screen changed again. It showed images of a planet, but the planet was dead. Its surface was gray and empty. No water, no life, no cities, nothing. This world was called, said, 40,000 years ago they came to Earth. They wanted to use humans as slaves. They had ships and weapons and technology that we could not match. So we waited. We learned. We grew stronger. And when we were ready, we found their home world. She paused to let the words sink in. They do not exist anymore. Their cities are dust. Their ships are scrap metal floating in space. Their people are bones buried under gray sand. We did not want to destroy them. They gave us no choice. Stared at the dead planet, 40,000 years. Humans had been a space power for 40,000 years. His empire was only 3,000 years old. Suddenly, he felt very small. I will leave, he said quietly. I will tell the empire. Thank you, said. You are wiser than I expected. The warship began to turn. Its engines powered up. In moments, it jumped away, vanishing into the distance between stars. Watched it go. She had never seen a retreat before, not once in all her years of exploration. Humans had done something that no other species had ever done. They had scared the... Now, said, turning to face, let us talk about you, Commander. They are different from the you explore, you study. You try to protect young species. We respect that. Bowed her head. Thank you, but I must ask, what are you going to do? Will you keep hiding? Will you show yourself to the galaxy? Was quiet for a moment. In the control room far below, she looked at her team. These were the and bravest humans alive. They had dedicated their lives to protecting Earth. They had worked in secret, never receiving thanks, never being known. And now, because of 2 alien ships fighting over space garbage, everything was changing. We have not decided yet, admitted. For now, we would like you to keep our secret. Can you do that? Thought about it. The High Council would want to know about this. They would want to study humans to understand how they had advanced so far while seeming so primitive, but understood something important. Humans had hidden for a reason. They had watched and waited because they did not trust the galaxy. If broke that trust now, she might start a war. I can keep your secret, she said, but the will talk. They will tell their empire what they saw. Eventually others will come. Nodded. We know, we are preparing for that. But for now we ask for time. Time to decide what we want to be. A hidden power, a new empire, something else entirely. These are big questions. They are, agreed. I hope you choose wisely. The communication ended. Ship began to move away from Earth, leaving the blue planet behind. But as she looked back at it on her screen, she knew she would never see it the same way again. Somewhere on that world, in a mountain with no name, Director was making plans. The universe would never be the same. 3 months passed after the incident in Earth orbit. The seasons changed on the blue planet below. Snow fell on mountains. Rain fell on forests. People went to work and school and lived their lives. None of them knew how close they had come to discovery. None of them knew about the station hiding in space or the facility buried in the mountain. But things were changing in the galaxy. Word of the encounter spread through the Empire like fire. Warlord told his commanders what he had seen. He described the massive station that could stop weapons and freeze time. He described the human woman who spoke without fear. He described the dead planet that humans had destroyed thousands of years ago. At first, nobody believed him, was known for making excuses when his conquests failed. The other warlords laughed at his story, a primitive species that could challenge the impossible. But then something strange happened. Ships that entered Earth's solar system stopped sending signals. Scout vessels vanished without a trace. Listening posts detected no communication from the area. It was like Earth had become a black hole for information. The Emperor, a massive creature named who had ruled for 200 years, called a meeting of his war council. "Explain this to me," demanded. His voice shook the walls of the throne room. "How can a species we have never heard of make our ships disappear?" Stood before the council. He was smaller than before. The fear from his encounter with humans had never left him. My emperor, I told you, the humans are not what they seem. Their primitive appearance is a trick. Tricks do not destroy warships, another commander shouted. You are lying to cover your failure. Send me back there, said quietly. Give me a full battle fleet. I will prove I am telling the truth. Considered this. A full battle fleet was expensive. It would take resources from other campaigns, but the mystery of Earth was bothering him. He needed to know the truth. Very well, the Emperor decided. Take 50 warships. Find out what is happening in that system. Destroy these humans if you can, or at least bring back information. Bode, it will be done. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, the High Council was having its own discussions. Commander stood before the 12 elders who ruled society. They were old, even by standards. Some of them had been alive for over 1,000 years. Their large eyes studied carefully. You claim these humans are more advanced than us? The eldest asked. Her name was Mother and she was the alive. I do not claim it, said. I saw it. Their station could stop time itself. Their shields absorbed a weapon without any damage. Their leader spoke to us through our own systems without any difficulty. Yet you have no proof, another elder pointed out. No recordings, no data, nothing but your word. Look down. The humans had done something to her ship's computers during the encounter. All the recordings were gone. Every scan, every image, every piece of evidence had been erased. They did not want us to have proof, she said. They wanted us to keep their secret, and I promised I would. Mother leaned forward. You made promises on behalf of the entire people, without permission from this council. I made a personal promise, corrected. I believed it was the right thing to do. These humans are powerful, but they chose to hide. They chose to watch instead of act. That shows wisdom. If we expose them before they are ready, we might become their enemies. I do not want that. The council was silent for a long time. Finally, Mother spoke again. We will respect your promise for now, Commander, but we will also watch. If the humans become a threat, we will need to know. Continue your exploration. If you find any more information about Earth, report it directly to me. Yes, Mother. Left the council chamber with a heavy feeling in her heart. She had done her best to protect humans, but she knew the galaxy would not leave them alone forever. They would come back. Other species would become curious. Eventually, humans would have to step out of the shadows. She only hoped they would be ready. Back on Earth, Director knew all of this. The station in orbit was not the only thing humans had hidden in space. There were listening devices in every corner of the galaxy. Satellites smaller than grains of sand floating near alien worlds. Ships that could travel between stars without being seen. Humans had been preparing for this moment since before the pyramids were built. Not all humans, of course. The secret was kept by a small group called the Watchers. They had existed since the first alien signal was detected thousands of years ago. Their job was simple: protect Earth by any means necessary. Was the current leader of the Watchers. She had taken the role 10 years ago after the previous director died. She had access to technology that would make the rest of humanity think she was a god, but she did not feel like a god. She felt tired. Director, James said, walking into her office. We have detected the fleet, 50 warships. They will reach our solar system in 6 days. Rubbed her eyes. 50 ships. Convinced them to take this seriously. What do we do? It was a good question. The Watchers had always tried to avoid direct conflict. Their strategy was to observe, learn, and prepare. But now preparation time was over. They were coming with enough firepower to burn entire continents. Call a meeting of all senior staff, said. We need to decide our response. That night 20 people gathered in the deepest room of the mountain facility. These were the leaders of the Watchers. Scientists, soldiers, strategists, and philosophers. Some were old, some were young. Some had been Watchers for decades, others for only a few years. But they all shared the same burden. stood at the head of the table. "You all know why we are here. The Empire is sending a fleet to investigate Earth. 50 warships will arrive in 6 days. We need to decide how to respond." A man with white hair spoke first. His name was Doctor, and he was the head of technology. "We can destroy them easily. Our orbital defense grid could eliminate all 50 ships in minutes. They would never even see what hit them." "And then what?" asked a woman named Senator Tors. She represented the political branch of the Watchers. "If we destroy a fleet, the Empire will send a bigger one, then a bigger one after that. Eventually they will send everything they have. Is that what we want? An endless war?" "Better than letting them think we are weak," General Hayes argued. "If we show mercy, they will see it as fear. They only understand strength." "There is another option," said a young man at the far end of the table. His name was David, and he was the member of the senior staff. He had been a Watcher for only 3 years, but his ideas had already impressed everyone. "What option?" asked. "We reveal ourselves," David said. "Not just to but to everyone. We broadcast a message to the entire galaxy. We show them what we are and what we can do. We make it clear that Earth is not to be touched." The room went quiet. This was the biggest question the Watchers had ever faced. For thousands of years they had hidden. They had watched empires rise and fall. They had seen species destroy themselves and others. Through it all, they had stayed in the shadows. Now someone was suggesting they step into the light. "That would change everything," Doctor said slowly. "Everything needs to change," David replied. "We cannot hide forever. The universe is getting smaller. More species are exploring. More ships are traveling. Eventually, someone will find us. Is it not better to control how we are discovered, to choose our own moment?" Looked around the table. She saw fear on some faces, hope on others. The decision she made now would affect all of humanity. Not just the people in this room, not just the people who knew about the Watchers, but every human alive. "We will vote," she said, "but first let me tell you a story." She pressed a button on the table. The lights dimmed, and images appeared in the air above them. "When I was a child," began, "my grandmother told me about our family history. She said that our ancestors were Watchers too. They had been protecting Earth since the time of the first emperors. She told me that the hardest part of being a Watcher was not keeping secrets. It was knowing when to let them go." The images showed human history, ancient civilizations, great wars, discoveries and disasters. Through all of it, in the background, small symbols appeared, the mark of the Watchers. "We have guided humanity for thousands of years," continued. "We have protected them from threats they never knew existed. We have given them time to grow and learn and become better. But now I ask, have we given them enough time? Are they ready to know the truth, not just about aliens, but about us?" Nobody had an answer. The question hung in the air like smoke. "We have 6 days," said. "Let us use them wisely." The fleet moved through the darkness between stars. 50 warships, each one capable of destroying a small moon. Their weapons were charged, their crews were ready, and their commander was determined. Warlord stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Fist. He had been given a second chance by the Emperor. He would not waste it. This time he would find the truth about humans. He would discover their secrets, and if possible, he would crush them. "How long until we reach the target system?" he asked. 4 days, Warlord, his navigator replied. 4 days. Had spent those days studying everything they knew about humans. It was not much. A small planet in an ordinary solar system. Radio signals suggesting primitive technology. No contact with galactic civilization. Nothing special. But had seen the truth. He had seen the giant station appear from nowhere. He had felt his weapons stopped in mid-fire. He had heard the human woman threaten him and mean every word. These creatures were dangerous, more dangerous than any enemy that had ever faced, and was afraid. Not that he would admit it. Fear was weakness, and weakness was death in the Empire. So he pushed the fear down deep inside himself and replaced it with anger. Anger at the humans for humiliating him. Anger at his fellow commanders for doubting him. Anger at the Emperor for sending him back to this cursed place. "Warlord," his communications officer interrupted. "We are receiving a strange signal." "From where?" I am not sure. It seems to be coming from everywhere at once." Redskin went pale. "Show me." The main screen flickered. Instead of the star map it had been showing, it now displayed a face. A human face. It was the same woman from before. Director. "Hello again, Warlord," she said. Her voice was calm, almost friendly. "I see you brought more friends this time." Try to stop the broadcast. He ordered his crew to cut the signal, to switch frequencies, to shut down the whole communication system if necessary. Nothing worked. The human face stayed on every screen on every ship in the fleet. "You are wasting your time," said. "We control your systems now. We have controlled them since you left space. Every message you sent to your empire we read first. Every order you received we approved first. You have been dancing to our music without knowing it." Around, his crew members looked at each other with terror. Some of them reached for their weapons, as if they could shoot the image on the screen. "What do you want?" demanded. "I wanted to give you a choice," said. "Your fleet can turn around right now and go home. You can tell your emperor that humans are not worth the trouble. You can live the rest of your life in peace." "And if we continue?" Smile faded, her eyes became hard. "Then you will see what we are truly capable of, and you will not enjoy it." Thought about his options. He could retreat and be called a coward for the rest of his life. He could attack and possibly die, or he could try to negotiate. "Show me your strength," he said carefully. "Give me something to take back to my emperor, something that proves you are as powerful as you claim." Seemed to consider this. "Very well, look to your left." Turned. Through the viewport of his ship, he could see one of his warships floating nearby. It was the Crimson Death, commanded by his second-in-command. As he watched, the Crimson Death simply stopped existing. There was no explosion, no flash of light, no debris. One moment it was there, and the next moment it was gone, disappeared completely. "Where is my ship?" whispered. "We moved it," said. "It is currently in orbit around a planet in the Andromeda Galaxy. The crew is alive and unharmed. They will be returned after we are finished talking." His mind could barely understand what he had just seen. The Andromeda Galaxy was millions of light-years away. The fastest ships took decades to travel between nearby stars, and humans had just moved an entire warship across the universe in an instant. "This is impossible," he said. "Many things seem impossible until someone does them," replied. "Now, Warlord, you have your proof. The question is, what will you do with it?" The bridge of the Iron Fist was completely silent. Every warrior was staring at the screen, waiting to hear what their commander would say. Made his decision. "We will return to the Empire," he said quietly. "I will report what I have seen. I will recommend that Earth be left alone." "Thank you, Warlord. That is a wise choice." The screen went dark. Normal communication returned. Stood alone in the center of his bridge, surrounded by warriors who now looked at him with something they had never shown before: respect. He had done what no commander had ever done. He had faced an unbeatable enemy and chosen survival over death. Some would call it cowardice. He would call it wisdom. "Turn the fleet around," he ordered. "We are going home." As the ships retreated, Director leaned back in her chair deep beneath the mountain. Her team was celebrating around her. They had won without firing a shot. It was the best kind of victory. But was not celebrating. She was thinking about what came next. The trick with the Crimson Death had been real. Humans could move objects across the universe instantly. It was called shift technology, and the Watchers had developed it over thousands of years. But using it had a cost. a cost that they did not know about and must never learn. Director, James said, interrupting her thoughts. They are requesting communication. Nodded, put them through. Commander appeared on the screen. She looked different than before. Older somehow, though only 3 months had passed. Director said formally, I have been sent by the High Council. They have questions about what happened today. You were watching. Everyone was watching. Your broadcast was received by every ship in this sector. You revealed yourself to dozens of species. Smiled slightly. That was the plan. Large eyes blinked in confusion. You wanted to be discovered. I wanted to control how we were discovered. There is a difference. Stood up and walked closer to the screen. Commander, they will not return. They have seen what we can do. They will tell their empire and the empire will stay away, but others will come. Explorers, scientists, diplomats. Are they interested in being the first? Was quiet for a long moment. You are offering us first contact. I am offering you a chance to know us before anyone else does, to understand us, to become our friends. The galaxy is about to change, Commander. Species will learn that humanity exists and that we are not to be underestimated. In this new galaxy, there could be our greatest allies or just another species that watched from far away. I must consult with the High Council. Of course, take your time. We have waited thousands of years. We can wait a little longer. The communication ended, returned to her chair and closed her eyes. The next few months would be the most important in human history. The secret was out. The Watchers would have to become something new. But that was a problem for tomorrow. Today, Earth was safe. And that was enough. 1 year passed since the day they retreated. 1 year since humans revealed themselves to the galaxy. It was the most eventful year in known history. The news spread faster than light itself. On 1,000 worlds, beings of every shape and size heard the same story. A species called humans from a small planet called Earth had hidden among the stars for 40,000 years. They had technology that made even the greatest empires look weak. They had defeated them without losing a single life. And now they wanted to talk. The reactions were as varied as the species themselves. The empire fell into chaos. Emperor was killed by his own generals, who blamed him for the humiliation. Civil war broke out as different factions fought for control. Within 6 months, the mighty empire that had conquered hundreds of worlds had broken into a dozen smaller kingdoms. None of them were interested in attacking Earth anymore. They became humanity's first official allies. Commander led the delegation that traveled to Earth's newly revealed space station. She spent 3 months learning about human history, culture, and technology. What she discovered amazed her. Humans had not always been advanced. Long ago, they were exactly what they appeared to be, a young species taking their first steps into space. But they had been smart and careful. When they detected signals from other civilizations, they did not respond. They listened, they learned, and they prepared. Over thousands of years, humans developed technology in secret. They built ships that could cross the galaxy. They created weapons that could destroy stars. They engineered their own bodies to live longer and think faster, but they never used any of it openly. They hid everything, waiting for the right moment. Why? Asked Director during one of their many conversations. Why hide for so long? You could have joined the galactic community thousands of years ago. You could have changed everything. Poured 2 cups of tea and handed one to the commander. They were sitting in a garden inside the mountain facility. Real sunlight streamed through hidden windows. Birds sang in the trees. Because the galaxy was not ready for us, said, and perhaps we were not ready for the galaxy. What do you mean? Sipped her tea before answering. When we first detected alien signals, we were excited. We thought the universe was full of wonderful beings who would welcome us. But as we listened more, we learned the truth. The universe was full of predators, species that conquered and destroyed without mercy. If we had announced ourselves back then, we would have been enslaved or killed. So you hid. We hid. We watched the predators rise and fall. We saw empires come and go. We learned from their mistakes, and we built something different. Looked around the garden. It was beautiful and peaceful, a place of life in a universe often filled with death. What did you build? She asked. Smiled. That is what I want to show you. Come with me. They walked through the facility, past laboratories and living quarters and rooms full of machines that could not identify. Finally, they reached a large door that opened onto a balcony overlooking an enormous underground space. Gasped. Below her was a city, not the crude metal boxes she had expected, but a real city full of light and green spaces and flowing water. Thousands of people moved through its streets, going about their daily lives. Children played in parks. Artists painted murals on walls. Musicians performed in open squares. This is Sanctuary, said. It is one of 17 cities hidden beneath Earth's surface. Over 2 million people live here. They know about the Watchers, about our technology, about everything. They choose to live apart from the surface world to help protect humanity's secrets. 2 million people, repeated, all keeping the same secret. For generations. Some families have lived here for hundreds of years. They have never seen the sun except through screens. They sacrifice their freedom so that the rest of humanity can be safe. Felt a new respect for humans growing inside her. They were not just powerful, they were united. They could keep secrets across centuries. They could plan for the long future instead of just the immediate present. There are many things, she said quietly, but I do not think we could do what your people have done. Everyone has their own strengths, replied. They are explorers and teachers. You help young species find their place in the universe. That is valuable too. They stood in silence for a moment, watching the city below. What happens now? Asked. Now we take the next step, said. We have hidden for 40,000 years. It is time to stop hiding and start building something new. What kind of something? Turned to face her alien friend. We want to create an alliance, not an empire where one species rules others, but a true partnership. Equal voices, shared resources, common goals. The humans and any other species that wants to join. Against chaos, against war, against the endless cycle of conquest that has defined galactic history for millions of years. We have the power to force peace on the universe, but that is not what we want. We want to inspire peace, to show other species that there is a better way. Considered this carefully. It was a bold vision, perhaps an impossible one, but the humans had already done many impossible things. The High Council will want to discuss this, she said. Of course, but I wanted you to understand our goal first. When you speak to the Council, speak from your hearts. Tell them what you have seen here. Tell them what you believe. What I believe. Nodded. You were the first alien to meet us by choice, not by accident. You were the first to treat us with respect instead of fear. That means something to us. Your voice will carry weight. Left Earth a few days later. She carried with her a message from humanity to the High Council. It was a formal request to begin alliance negotiations. It was the beginning of something that had never existed before. In the months that followed, the galaxy transformed. They voted to accept humanity's offer. Other species followed. The Collective, once the largest political body in the galaxy, invited human observers to their meetings. The Free Worlds Federation opened trade routes to Earth's system. Not everyone was happy. Some species feared humans. Others hated them. There were assassination attempts against and other human leaders. There were terrorist attacks on Sanctuary and other hidden cities. But humans handled each crisis calmly and firmly. They showed mercy to those who surrendered and determination against those who continued to fight. Director became famous throughout the galaxy. She was called the voice of Earth, the hidden one, the mother of peace. She gave speeches that were broadcast to trillions of beings. She negotiated treaties that ended conflicts thousands of years old. She became the symbol of a new age. But she was not immortal. 10 years after first contact, called a meeting of the Watchers. She stood before them, older now, her hair completely gray. "It is time," she said simply. Everyone knew what she meant. The Watchers had always kept their existence secret. Only a few million people knew about them. But now, with humanity revealed to the galaxy, that secret made less sense. "We must tell the rest of humanity," continued. "All 8 billion of them. They deserve to know their own history. They deserve to know what we have done in their name." "Is the world ready?" General Hayes asked. She was old now too, but still strong. "I do not know," admitted. "But I know that we cannot keep this secret forever. Better to reveal it ourselves than to have it exposed by accident." The vote was unanimous. For the first time in history, the Watchers would reveal themselves to all of humanity. The announcement was made on a sunny morning in May. Every screen on Earth carried the same message. Director appeared, surrounded by the other Watcher leaders, and told the truth. All of it. The ancient origins of the organization, the hidden technology, the centuries of secret protection. The reaction was overwhelming. Some people were angry at being lied to for so long. Others were grateful for the protection they never knew they had. Debates raged in every country about what it all meant. But most people simply accepted the new reality. The universe was bigger than they had thought. Humanity was older and stronger than they had known, and the future was full of possibilities they could barely imagine. Watched the debates from her garden in Sanctuary. She was retired now, letting younger leaders guide humanity into its new age. Her work was done. Came to visit her one last time. The commander was an ambassador now, representing her people in the new Galactic Alliance. She found sitting under a tree, reading an old book. "What are you reading?" asked. "An ancient human story," said. "About a hero who goes on a long journey and finally returns home. I always loved this story." Sat down beside her. "You have been on a long journey too." "The longest journey of all," agreed, "but I am home now." They sat together in comfortable silence. Above them, hidden by rock and metal and technology, the stars wheeled through the night sky. Somewhere among those stars, ships from dozens of species traveled on missions of peace. Worlds that had been at war for centuries were now at rest. Children were growing up in a galaxy safer than it had ever been. "Do you think it will last?" asked. Closed her book and looked up at the hidden sky. "Nothing lasts forever. Empires rise and fall. Alliances break and reform. That is the nature of things. But the changes we have made will echo through time. We have shown the galaxy that peace is possible. That trust is stronger than fear. That even the smallest world can change everything." She smiled at her friend. "And that is enough." The story of humanity had many chapters still to be written. There would be challenges and setbacks, triumphs and tragedies. The universe was vast and unpredictable, full of wonders and dangers beyond imagining. But Earth would face it all with open eyes and steady hearts. The time of hiding was over. The time of watching was past. Now was the time for humanity to take its place among the stars. Not as conquerors or subjects, but as partners and friends. And that, the galaxy would learn, made all the difference.